Hey guys. So when I started this whole series, I immediately thought that this whole homeless epidemic was going to be bigger in New York City because in big cities this always seems like a bigger problem because you see them more frequently. But that's not necessarily the case. In the suburbs, there are actually plenty of people that are suffering from very, very, very bad poverty or homelessness. And I didn't know that because I don't see them on my daily commute. I live about an hour away from the city in a small town on Long Island. And, I live in a basic neighborhood like anybody else. I never have I seen homeless people just roaming around my streets or seen people in the bigger parts of town roaming around asking for money. So where are they? If they're here, if there are thousands out there, where are they? How do they survive? Here on Long Island, the price of living is almost just as high, if not higher, in some parts of Long Island than in New York City. So if some suburbs are more expensive than big cities, how are they surviving? I have so many questions, and I'm so excited to find these out. So we're going to go talk to Kimberly Gambino. She runs Helping Hand Rescue Mission, a small charity that's based in Long Island that's been running for over 50 years. Let's see what we can find out, guys.
By one estimate, nearly 50,000 veterans will experience homelessness each year.
New York has been facing the lowest temperatures in decades, also the highest number of homeless.
A growing number of homeless people in the U.S. are children and teenagers.
New York City's homeless population has reached an all-time high, more than 60,000 people. And what makes that figure all the more alarming is that 25,000 are children.
There just needs to be more people caring, like more people realizing the situation that we're in and that we're not all bad people.
Hi, I am Kimberly Gambino, and I'm the Director and President of the Helping Hand Rescue Mission in Huntington Station, New York. And we are a faith-based community organization that provides services and food, clothing, household items, support, and family programs and events to support people in the community that are in need.
Kimberly, it's so awesome to be here with you today and talk to you about Helping Hand and about what you're doing. I've had the privilege to go out and experience firsthand in Manhattan and see what it's like working with an organization and feeding the homeless and seeing that aspect of things. But one of the things that seemed to baffle me and one of my biggest questions was what is homelessness and poverty like in the suburbs, in our own backyard, right? Because a lot of people don't know, but it is very prevalent. There's a lot of people, right? Yes. So can you tell me a little bit about what it's like? And I mean, you're here on Long Island, here in Huntington, Long Island, where there is a suburb and there is, some people who get to live these very lavish lifestyles, but also people who don't. Can you just tell me about the different types of people you see and about, what it's like?
It's really amazing because we see people that do live lavish lifestyles and that have all provision, and then we see families that don't have anything. Yeah. Families that are either homeless or on the verge of being homeless, or that have been homeless, or that are maybe 1 month away from becoming homeless and not knowing how they're quite going to make it through. We really serve, I call it the working poor class. And they're people that have jobs. People say, do the people you serve have jobs? Yes, some have 2 and 3 jobs. Okay. But it's very expensive living here on Long Island and providing food and clothing and paying apartment rent or a mortgage and taking care of 2 or 3 children is a very difficult thing here on Long Island. And, poverty exists here as much as it does in the city, in the suburbs. And a lot of times there are pockets of masked poverty that people don't see, because they don't want to look past where they're living and the things that they're doing, but it really does exist here. We see it every day.
Can you tell me a little bit about how many people you think that this mission has helped? I mean, I know that it's been around for quite some time. Do you have a ballpark number about how many people you guys think you've helped?
Tens of thousands in 54 years. I mean, just if you think about just last month for Thanksgiving, we served close to 500 families.
500?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you think about every, throughout the course of the year, all different people coming. It's definitely in the thousands per year, times
Wow.
54, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's incredible. It's incredible. So, I mean, it's been around for 54 years. So, can you tell me a little bit about how it started and,
Sure.
and how it's
That's one of my
continued?
favorite things to talk about. My mom and dad started the mission in 1965, and they were young. They were 29 and 34, and they just become married. And they were going to take a job at an established mission in Texas.
Okay.
And that came with a job and a salary and, you know, benefits and things like that. And they were very excited about that. But while they were waiting for the time to come for them to go to Texas, they were kind of looking for places to serve in their own community. And my dad was from Alabama, but my mom was from here in Huntington. And so he found families here that were in need and went to go help them and brought her with him. And so they worked to serve families locally, and he said, why are we going across the country when there's need right here? And so she said, well, you know, we're going across the country because we have a job and money and, you know, the benefits and things that we need for our family. And he said, well, let's have faith and let's trust and let's take a little adventure. So he encouraged her. He found a little storefront that was $160 and talked the landlord down to $120. If you ever knew my dad, he was very good at that type of thing. And told her what they were planning to do. And they were able to rent the storefront for $120. They closed their bank account that had $125 left from their honeymoon. And paid the $120 rent, paid $475 for cleaning supplies, and opened with 25 cents capital.
Wow.
Not knowing if they would just be in business for 1 month or 2 months or just a little time.
Or what, anything with the future at the whole,
yeah,
wow.
but here, 54 years later, the mission is here and thriving. And, you know, they always wanted for the mission to continue on as a lighthouse in the community to share with people, and we're here.
So in the 54 years and in the time that you've been involved, can you tell me a story maybe about one thing that just really touched you? And I'm sure there's many, but just one maybe that sticks out in your head.
Sure. There was a family that we were serving, and they just had run into some really hard times, and they found themselves in a homeless shelter. And they had a little boy that we had gotten to know. His name was Jason. He was just such a sweet little boy. And they didn't have much of anything, you know. And I remember taking things to the shelter and going to the little room that they were sharing, 3 people with a small bathroom, and, you know, just kind of making it their home. And knowing where they had come from, knowing when they had their little apartment that was nice and it was, you know, comfortable, but seeing where they had gone to and the lack that they had.
Wow.
You know, but when I came to the shelter and I brought the things that they needed, they had requested some very simple items, sheets and a few kitchen items and things like that. And when I brought them, the love and the hugs and just the genuine appreciation that they had so much for those simple things showed me how needful they are. You know, sometimes I think, well, we help to provide food, we help to provide clothes, such basic, simple things. But when you don't have those things, they're the most important things. Yeah. And so we were able to see that family from the shelter back into housing, and to see them thrive again, and to see them go kind of, you know, to come around full circle, you know, to having jobs again, to doing things like that really was meaningful to me, because just helping someone one time is one thing, but to be able to see them through.
Watch their growth.
And watch their growth,
wow.
and to know them, and to, you know, have every once in a while the wife will stop by and she says, hey, I just wanted to say hello. And I'm like, always so happy to see her, because I know she's doing well. Yeah. And that means so much to me when you see someone who has, you know, gone down and they just don't know what to do and they're in a despairing situation, and then to be able to have hope and to be able to pick themselves up like that and continue onwards.
That
is really great.
A lot of people take for granted, I don't know all, but a lot of people take for granted this fact that, you know, in one bad decision or something happens that's out of your control, you could lose everything that you have. Mm-hmm. And we all take advantage of the fact that we have a bed to sleep in. And
sure.
You know, something simple, you just said sheets. Yeah, mm-hmm. If I didn't have sheets, that would be the most important thing for me. You're right. It's crazy. That's, I mean, and I mean, the people who come here, what do you think, what do they typically ask for? Are they asking
right now, coats.
Coats, yeah.
People are asking for coats.
Yeah.
We had 2 little boys that came in. One is 10 and one is 12. They're brothers, and they had one coat, and they would share the coat. One wore it one day, the other wore it the next day.
That's heartbreaking.
Then there was a woman
Wow.
who came in, and she had a coat, and it didn't fit. It was too small. And so I helped her find another coat, and she said, "This is my friend's coat. I borrowed it to come here." She didn't have a coat. And when I've talked to other agencies locally, that's the most requested thing this year are coats.
Wow.
And even as we're filling out these holiday lists for families for things that they need for the holidays, clothes, boots, not extravagant toy lists, nothing, you know, not iPads, not all those different things. They're asking for basic, simple things. I went to go take food to a family, and the woman said that she didn't have a car, so she had called, and she had 3 little kids, and she asked, she said she lived in the back of the house. So normally if somebody lives in the back of the house, you walk to the back of the house and there's a door, you knock on the door. So I pulled into the driveway and I walked to the back of the house and I looked and there was no back door, and I was like, okay. So I called her on the phone and she said, "Yeah, we're back here." So I said, okay, and she said, "Do you see the plywood?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "You lift the plywood." When I lifted back the plywood, there was a door, and you could go into this. It was almost like a crawl space, but
Almost
higher.
like a bunker.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was very, and she had, you know, put some beds in there and things like that, but the floor was a concrete floor with some throw rugs. It was just very, you know, substandard housing, definitely. But that was how you got into their house, and she was living there with 3 little kids.
And you know, she's trying to get by. Wow. And it's here. It's just so, it baffles me.
Yeah,
It's
less than
like,
a mile from here.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. I grew up around the corner from here, so for me to
You have
even
people
think
that
that
come all the time and they say, "I never knew this mission was here." And I'm like, "We've been here for 53 years. You know?
In my 21 years of life, I've never knew that this was here. I had no idea. But wow, I mean, this is, it's so incredible what you do. I mean, I also want to know a little bit about like what you think is some common misconceptions that people have. I know you kind of touched on
Common
it.
misconceptions are that poor people are lazy.
Yeah.
The poor people that I know that are here, there might be some lazy poor people, but the people that come through the doors of our mission are hardworking people. They're people that are proud. They're people that want to work. If they're not working at the moment, they're looking for work, and they are not lazy people. So that is a misconception that they are lazy.
Yeah.
Someone else.
I think it's so important that everyone, you know, experience it. I had never volunteered or experienced what this is like ever, and then just doing this past month and this research and all this stuff and being present, being there, it has become something I want to, you know, dedicate a major part of my time doing and help people, and I encourage everyone to go do it. I think it's so important to go find organizations like yours and you know, put that mission out there where you just want to give them a helping hand, right? Just I think it's a beautiful mission that you guys have, and I think I commend you for doing it, and I commend your parents for starting this, and you know, they're both beautiful souls, and
They
I mean,
are,
it's,
and you know, every day I think about how much they sacrificed and how hard they worked so that the mission could be here. And so I feel like I'm just doing a little part to be able to help.
And the fact that you keep it going, and I know that this place will stay here for another 54 years, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Thank you.
Next time on Conversations. So we talk about just healthcare and so much that's happening in our country, but one of the things we forget to talk about all the time are these people who are living on the street, these people who are homeless. In these big cities, in suburban towns, homeless people are everywhere, not just in major cities. So, gotta do our part.